We are rolling. What's up, people? It's Heather and
Lindsey and
here,
Daisy.
and of course the lovely Daisy Lou Pink here for season 2 of Unpopular Disney Opinions.
Woo woo!
Yeah, I'm so excited that we're back.
Me too. Especially since we just went on our trips.
So for everybody that doesn't follow us personally, which is probably a few people, Lindsey and I went to Disney World and Disneyland
In the past 3 months.
So our knowledge is super fresh, which, by the way, before we truly get started, I think that there's at least one, if not two things I would like to bring up / debunk or like
What?
fact correct from last season.
Oh God.
Remember how we said one of the worst things in Disney World was the heat room in Test Track?
Okay, well, Test Track actually got redone. I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, wow, that's so embarrassing. And I've actually been on the new version before that episode. And I'm sitting on the ride and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, this ride got redone.
It's
significantly worse, in my opinion, than the
No,
original.
I actually completely agree with you. It is significantly worse than the original version.
Yeah.
Like, bring me back to the original version. That makes me feel like the new version. I was like, it's like trying to make fetch happen. Like it was trying
too hard to be like techie and new.
Way too hard.
So yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame that one on you.
Yeah, no, it's my fault.
You should have corrected me / not had said it. So yeah, I
literally didn't realize until we were like in the queue. I'm like, oh, we've done this before.
And I will say that there were things that we did not go on. There were things that we did not do due to construction and other things, and also just because we're true Disney fans and we don't go on the shitty rides. I'm sorry, people.
Sorry. We also don't wait in line for like rides that aren't worth it. So
we'll be occasionally dropping our hot takes about our Disney trip. We're not going to give all the goods right from episode number 1, but because this is so fresh in our memory, and also because we also didn't go on some of these rides,
yes.
We're kicking this season off with worst rides in America.
Yep. Disney World and Disneyland.
Disney World, Disneyland, because we don't have any knowledge of the European or any other.
Which we talked about, in our.
Yeah, we can't speak to that just yet. I mean, by the end of this season, I'm going to convince Lindsey to come to Paris with me and go to Disneyland Paris.
I know. We'll see.
Mom can watch Daisy Lou. So, before we got things started, I had a question for you.
Oh, great.
Just in general, right? When you're making your list, how much did lines come into a factor of the worst rides?
In my notes before, this is like how I prompted myself to think about it. I said, these are horrible rides. And then there's rides that aren't worth the wait. So these rides are both not worth the wait and they're terrible.
Okay. I did a combination of like, because I think at the end of the day, it's about the entire experience.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's about the waiting in the line, which they've done an amazing job. Like I got to go on Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride when
they got rid of all the interactive stuff because of COVID.
But still, there's still stuff to look at.
There's screens.
Yeah, it feels different. But the line and how you get on the ride, for me, is sometimes it's a deal breaker.
It's huge. Yeah, as you'll like hear more about, we really like do not wait in line for the shitty rides. We will simply not go on them. And we've been on them before. Like we've been going to Disney our entire lives.
Yes.
So, we're in our 20s, 30s. We don't need to wait half hour for a ride that we would happily walk on.
I know. And I was just telling a friend that I used to work at the NFL. Right before this, I was telling Lindsey, I was on the phone driving up, trying to race to get this. She was going to Disney World for the first time, and I had to explain to her, like, I do Disney different.
We do it differently.
We do not wait in lines. That is the goal. I know our guests. We drink, and we don't wait in lines. Like, in my opinion, we do Disney the best way.
We do. So many people after our trip was like, I want to go to Disney with you. I'm like, yeah, because we have a fucking blast. We have so much fun.
Next time we were drinking around the world all day. We're not going to be waiting until like 1 p.m. to enter.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
1 p.m. But like we were there until the park closed. So
yeah. Which, by the way, if you have to stay until the very end of any park, highly recommend Epcot and highly recommend their brand new night water showcase thing.
It was
I don't know, but
awesome.
it was amazing. And I honestly, I can't wait to go back and see it again because it was so cool.
Yeah, it was
So,
cool. Okay,
all right. Linz, why don't you go first? Honor us with number 3 on your list of worst rides.
I didn't want to put this ride on here because you haven't been on it. We purposely skipped it when we went to Disney World because the line was too long. And this ride is simply like not worth even a minute. Wait, it's so horrible. So I'm really sorry. I tried to keep this in rides that we went on recently. I simply couldn't leave it off because it's still so horrible. And I've only been on the ride once.
Is it the Goofy ride?
No. It's the Na'vi River Journey in Animal Kingdom.
Oh.
In Pandora. So this ride opened in 2017. It's roughly 5 years old. And when I was there back in 2017, we waited.
My gosh, I love that you're putting a newer ride on this list because that is I don't have like as new a ride on my list, but I have a newer ride and it just speaks to the like fucked up.
Yeah, no, this is my one like newer-ish ride. But we waited 45 minutes for it, and then we got on it, and we got off of it, and we're like, what the hell just happened? Which I think I kind of mentioned this when we were talking about, like, the best rides, because I had Flight of Passage is one of my best rides. And then you have this, where, like, the queue to Flight of Passage, which you saw this past time, the queue looks better than the entire River Journey ride. Because Disney spent every last dollar they had allocated to Pandora on Flight of Passage, and then like had pennies to spare for the river.
Yeah,
journey.
I think they learned their lesson. I haven't been able to speak to this ride, but at least maybe now you can compare because you got to go on Star Wars.
Star Wars,
at least they didn't do that with Star Wars. At least like the secondary ride is still fun and
they can't keep doing that because it's a pet peeve of mine. They make this new land, it's so beautiful. They put one amazing ride in and they just like fuck up the other ride. And it like really like ruins the land as a whole because everyone's in line for the good ride. But maybe like they try to do it. I mean, I know that they try to keep one as like a more family ride, and that's definitely River Journey because you have to be a certain height to go on Flight of Passage because of how the seat is and how it locks you in place.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
How, I mean, and also just from being on it, like it almost has this age range. As we can attest, that I would assume in a couple years our mother will not be going on that ride for various reasons, other than people that just can't handle motion. It's a tough ride for them. But
I don't know, like even now, like 5 years later, Flight of Passage still looks new and pretty, and like River Journey is it already looked dated. Like they're gonna have to redo it in a few years. And waste even more money.
Yeah. No, I think that somewhere in my notes, I actually think it is this was in my notes of an episode that I thought we were taping that we're not going to be taping, so I will give it now. Is I think that whenever Disney classic miscommunication, but it was all me. I was doing research on the Radiator Springs Cars ride. Which cost them a small fortune in order to make.
I'm not surprised.
And I like the ride, but the thing is it feels short. And if it feels short, it's like, why don't you just spend the extra $50 million to make it feel like a complete ride?
Yeah.
And there are some of these rides that just like they open and they don't feel like a timeless classic. Like
I think that they got into probably like space problems with cars.
That I could see that just from being there a billion times. I could see that, but like vet that stuff out. Like if you're spending over $100 million on a ride, like it needs to be a timeless classic that doesn't feel disappointing when you walk off of it.
Yeah, well, this ride is disappointing when you walk off of it. It's a literal waste of time. And also, just like a side note about Pandora, I completely forgot about this. In the land of Pandora, you walk in, it's the River Journey, you keep walking, it's Flight of Passage, and then there's like a little restaurant, quick service food area.
Yeah.
Then it's a dead end. You have to turn around and go out the other way to get out of Pandora. Which again, it's at the edge of the park. So it's not like there's something behind it. It's the parking lot of Animal Kingdom is behind it.
Like they had infinite room to make it better.
Room to like go around and build, Anyway. I'm sorry that I picked one that we didn't go on, but
No,
we're not
actually,
waiting.
I actually did pick one that you didn't go on.
Okay.
It's not my number 3. My number 3 is actually in Epcot, and it's Mission Space.
Okay, is that the one? This is gonna sound really stupid, so because I should know this. That's not the one in the big ball, right?
No, that's
No.
Spaceship Earth.
That's Spaceship
That
Earth.
one. So I think with my list, I think there's cute rides that aren't the worst. Like I love It's a Small
The
World.
Small World.
It's cute. I love the one at Disneyland
Oh,
where you
that
can
one's so
feel
much
the different characters and it doesn't feel as loud. Like I felt like I needed earplugs for the one in Disney World. So like there were these rides on my list. I'm like, this is charming. I like this one. Which rides could I really live without ever, or like are just a giant waste of space?
Those are classic Disney. Like that's why I also like. I don't have the rides like a Dumbo because that's classic Disney. Are we gonna go on it?
But also, we went on Dumbo,
We
and I
did
was
go
like,
on
I had
Dumbo.
fun.
Well, it was cute.
It was
And
cute.
we were alone on the ride anyway, but
yeah, we were alone because we were at the Very Merry Christmas Party or whatever version of they call
then
it.
again, we
2021.
walked right on Dumbo.
Yes.
That's not something we were gonna wait for.
So I was on this ride. I think I've been on this ride twice, if not I for sure once. And for my brain to vividly remember something as vivid as this ride is a rarity. And I remember going on this ride, and like I got off of it and I thought I was gonna throw up. Like we can go on Space Mountain multiple times and it's a ride in the dark, but this ride made me feel like actual vomit and I was not okay afterwards. And I know
actually I have vivid memories as a kid of you going on this and you coming off and bitching, and I was so much younger than you. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I ain't doing that.
As you shouldn't.
I've never been on it. Yeah.
And the amount of money, so okay, amount of money is one thing. I fully understand the whole like trying to mimic going to Mars or the moon or whatever like that, but like, do we really need to mimic that? Like, if you really wanted to do it, that is what space camp and that is what astronaut school, whatever the fuck that they do. Please do not make it a Disney ride. Like,
also, like you can mimic it by like the screens now, like a Soarin' or a Flight of Passage, without making you feel like you want to die.
Yeah. So here's my hot take. It cost them $100 million to make this ride.
Isn't it crazy? They're so expensive.
So expensive. This is definitely I think that Disney will no longer be letting it known how much money that they actually spend on some of the rides. Like for example, they just said Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which $1 billion. Yeah. They didn't say how much one thing was to another because yes, it was all kind of one cost. But if Disney had known that, or maybe they did, but if Disney Imagineering and who's ever in charge of the theme parks known that they were going to be buying Marvel and Marvel was going to be as big as it was, I think they would have just saved the $100 million and maybe rolled it over to what now is going to be next door, which is the amazing Guardians ride that I cannot wait to go on. Well, but the thing is they could have had a small little Avengers park there, or small little Iron Man experience that the Iron Man experience of not going on a fucking roller coaster, I bet you would be better than this Mission Space thing.
Yeah. I bet I faintly remember them going to redo Mission Space into like Incredibles. Did that get scrapped or is that just false?
I think that got scrapped.
Because that was a thing, right? Something was going to be Incredibles at Epcot.
I don't
remember.
A long time ago. No, I don't remember.
I kind of remember it when I was there like the time before we went. I don't know. Anyway, they're doing a lot of work to Epcot. And by the next time we go as a family, it's going to be completely different.
I'm for it. Epcot is my favorite park. Towards the back, and I cannot wait for Guardians to open up. I'm going to be a giant kid in the candy store. I cannot wait. All right, that's my number 3.
Is that one on Genie Plus? Because I'm pretty sure like the River Journey is on Disney Plus or Genie Plus.
I wouldn't know because my brain doesn't even go to think like I want to get on this ride. It glazes over it. Like I don't know.
The fact that like people would pay money to go on it is just a joke. Not only like wait in line, but also like pay money. Absolutely not.
We could go on a separate tangent, have a separate episode about Lightning Lane and or Genie Plus, but we're not.
I bet we'll get there. So
we'll get there at some point this season, and at some point our hair is going to be pulled out because of it.
Okay, my number 2. We went on this ride in Disneyland. We did not go on it in Disney World this last time, but it's in both parks. It's actually in 5 parks, which is kind of cool. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Okay, so I Never hated this ride. I thought it was fine. You know, it's like a typical boat ride. Classic Disney. We went on it towards the end of our day in Disneyland, which was a huge mistake because it like ruined everyone's vibe. I have 3 main questions. Why is it pitch black? Why did we get fucking wet? And why is it 16 minutes long? Like,
To be
why?
honest with you, my biggest question, which you'll be proud, I feel like I was going to get shamed for putting it on my list because I've talked about I'm a big hater. I actually put it in my honorable mentions, believe it or not, because
Oh.
everyone should know how much I hate it. But what's the story and what's the
Okay.
point?
So I Googled that because I've never seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. If you've watched season 1, you realize that like I don't really like action movies. That's just not my jam. But so I was curious. I'm like, what's going on? Because like the first couple minutes of the ride, you're in legitimate pitch black.
I fell
And
asleep.
then like
I fell
the
asleep.
second half of the ride is like a completely different it feels so separate. So apparently this ride was built like a long time ago, I think in the 70s. And then the movie came out that was loosely based off the ride. And then they adapted the ride to include elements of the movie. So that's why it's a mosh pit of nothing.
It is a mosh pit of nothing. It's a terrible ride, and
You fell asleep. Like I swear to God, you are about to nod off.
I did. No, I 100% fell asleep. I had my backpack up, and I fell asleep on my backpack.
My whole butt got wet. It was just stupid.
Listen, it doesn't smell as bad as it used to, but maybe
Splash Mountain smells worse.
yeah, but I think maybe it was also the time of year. Like we didn't go during the hot, sweltering heat of the summer, and everyone else stinks like a boar. But yeah, I can't stand that ride either. That one's a waste of space. But here's the thing: is whoever wants to go on that ride, be my guest. Get the hell out of the other ride lines that I want to be in. If that ride takes you out of it.
Yeah, well, that queue is also very strange. It was not well like thought out. It's also closed for refurbishment right now at Disneyland, so we just missed that by like a week.
Darn.
I know. I will say the only part of the ride that I actually enjoyed, and I would have enjoyed it more if I was not actually on the ride, was the Blue Bayou restaurant.
Yeah.
That's in the beginning part of the ride. Like that's really cool. I would have rather been at the restaurant than been on the ride. Yeah. Apparently, like the food's good. And it's cute.
So recently, when Disneyland opened back up from the pandemic, I believe it's the Blue Bayou restaurant is the only other place in Disneyland that you can get alcohol outside of Oga's Cantina, which is also why it's a huge pain in the ass to get in there.
Yeah.
Inexpensive.
I mean, they do it on purpose.
Of course.
And it's just a pain in the ass.
Everything is methodic. Like, listen, we love Disney. I was just telling this to my friend that worked at the NFL. We love Disney. We just don't like to let them win. Like, you know what I mean? You don't need
against our religion. This ride actually opened in 1967 in Disneyland.
I was gonna say I think it was before the 70s, but
it's in 5 parks, which is cool. 2 of them, obviously. In
the but I will say that have you seen the documentary on Disney Plus that shows what it is like in like Tokyo?
No, I think it's in Paris too.
So I will say that I will go on it whenever I go to one of those parks because they totally changed it and it is like in a boat style, but the 3D screens or like the screens are some of them are 3D and adaptive or something along those lines.
I'm like almost positive that Disney World's like way better than the one in Land. So I've been on World several more times than I've been on Land, but we didn't go on it this last time.
No, but because I bet you the story makes more sense.
Yeah, because they actually like redid it after the second movie came out.
I'm pretty sure I had to go back and rewatch. I think the Imagineering story or and it goes through it's either that or it's another show on Disney Plus. But I remember watching it. It's really cool. I'll find it and I'll bring it up. But I highly recommend watching that because you'll get to see the difference because the pirates here suck, but the pirates abroad, excuse me, some of them are much different and adapted to the 20th century.
Yeah, that must be nice.
All right. My number 2 is one that you did not go on. We were at Disneyland and we walked by this ride and you said, "What is that?" And I said, "It's a ride of stupid fucking tiny houses." And that is the Storybook Land boat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we did not go on that ride.
Now,
It looks so
if
stupid.
this isn't on your list, like I totally get it because you haven't been on it. But for anybody that hasn't been on this ride because it's stupid and I'm going to at least lay out my recent experience on it.
Did you go on it recently? Were you with
I
kids?
did go on it recently. So, I went on it recently because it is pretty much one of the only rides that toddlers maybe under 1 or
Oh, like a baby to
under
go on?
1 because I was with Everett.
Yeah.
So, we get in this line, it's about 25 minutes long. And it's 25 minutes long. There's no skipping, there's no lightning lane, none of that bullshit. And obviously, our realistic goal is to never wait in a line. I'm already not happy about that. But you go in there and like I just hate waiting in lines. And on top of that, this is a ride like from the 50s. So it's not like a broad, like, oh, the turnstiles. The turnstiles are on top of each other and on top of each other for people in the 1950s, aka not super overly obese people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, literally, if I put my arm straight across, I probably could touch 2 turnstiles, not 1, 2. So everyone's on top of each other. This was still not height pandemic at all, but it was still, in a pandemic of higher positivity rate. How
Yeah.
about that? So I was not loving it. Obviously I went on this ride because Eric, friend of the podcast, amazing, good friend to me. Him and his wife Lauren brought their baby, little man Everett. And it was really cute to see him. So when you go on this ride, you sit on this boat and you go through this like big giant whale. And he was like, oh my God, like his eyes lit up. And it was really cute. But then after that, you do this little like back and forth in a boat. And you have to kind of like squint to see tiny miniature houses of princesses.
Okay. Yeah, like we were walking past it and there's people on the boat. And then like, I'm like, I don't understand.
They're microscopic houses of princesses. Tell me how that is a legitimate fucking ride.
Yeah. Like, why don't you have that be like a walkthrough exhibit or just like on the side of like a path?
I would have loved to hear about the theology of creating this ride. Like someone was like, this is a great idea. We're going to create tiny houses for people to squint to look at.
I'm assuming this is one of the original rides from when the park opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
And like, they're never going to get rid of that probably. That's the thing.
Tough to get rid of it because like the thing is I really wish that they just upgraded it to something that was really cool and wow. Like, I can't describe it, but I do think that there's value of having a ride that is so like it's so great for tiny babies.
It's mellow, yeah.
But the whole setup is fucked up because it's from the 1950s. At this point, there's very few things you're gonna get away with at Disney that are like, okay, this is cute from 1950s. Like this is 2022. Like there's only so many of that we can possibly fucking say before it just gets really
and they already have enough there that is like original or like
I'm starting to think that our number ones are the exact same.
Oh God, I really hope not.
Which number one?
Tomorrowland Speedway or in Disneyland, Autopia.
It is not the same one.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, let me talk about this stupid ass ride. Are
you mad because you went on it? We went on it in Disney World and
we went on it during the very Merry Christmas party, which I wasn't happy about, but everyone else wanted to go on it. It was fine.
Mind you, we went with our mother that we love her to death. She has regressed from average ride goer to toddler ride goer. No, she's downgraded to toddler. Like that's what happens when you have, parents and they're now the equivalent of a toddler to which they can go on.
Like Dumbo, Aladdin,
but
carpet.
With the excitement of a toddler to grumbling of an older person.
Yeah, so we went on this ride. We went on Tomorrowland Speedway in Disney World. I hate this ride so much. Why is it still gas cars? Like, why didn't they upgrade the freaking carts? It smells horrible. It's incredibly loud. The cars don't even go fast. They max out at 7.5 miles per hour if your car is actually functioning, because not all the cars go that fast, because mine definitely did not. I had to put my foot flat on the gas. Your foot gets a freaking cramp by the end. And what
dramatic
really makes me mad, like what makes this number one?
But see, this is the first time. But I think for a lot of smaller kids, this is the first time they're getting to drive a car, even if
That's
it
the
is with
only
their parents.
reason why it's still there, is that
But
exact
that
reason.
makes this the worst over other rides?
Wait, I didn't tell you the worst part. Okay, what you got?
Don't
What
tell me
makes
it's
it
this. Getting smashed in the back.
No, what makes this worst part is, like, okay, you're supposed to be, like, driving a car and, like, racing each other, but the loading and the unloading makes no sense. So when you're with a party and you get on and say we wanted to race, they line you up in a vertical line.
Yeah.
So we're in a straight line. You're not next to each other. So all you get to do is smack them in the back. But then, like, it loads and unloads so slowly, there's the buildup, before you can pull in. So then you're sitting there in the stench of the gas, and it's so loud. It just, like, makes no sense, and I believe this is, like, in one of the original rides in Disney World. It opened up in '71. Um, they've shortened it. They had to shorten it. Let's see,
Did
2019.
they short it to make Tron?
They made space for Tron. Get
Yeah.
rid of it. Put Tron right there. That would have been such a cool, like, vocal point of Tomorrowland, especially now that, like, Tomorrowland's really dated. It would have been, like, the perfect focal point, but, like, they won't get rid of this damn ride. Now it's only 0.4 miles long. They literally can't make it any shorter.
I don't see the harm in it. I really don't. I don't think it's as good. But here's the problem is it's normally it's like a 5-10 minute wait. Like
It's a
we don't
sore
have
thumb.
kids, and I think that like kids would find the beauty in this. And it's like it does smell, and you make an extremely valid point that they need to rethink how they load people onto. I didn't even think about that, but I remember when I went on it, I was the one that was in front, and I was waiting for everybody. And as mom was coming, she came really close, and then I hit the gas, and then so she couldn't hit me, and she was so mad. She would like,
Oh,
you
I
know.
smacked mom in the back so many times. That was last to get on. Yeah, it feels like a cheap carnival ride. It's
It
like,
does.
like the carnivals that come once a year, it just feels like a cheap carnival ride. And, like, if you want to keep it, upgrade the freaking cars and change the loading and unloading. Then we'd have a completely different ride.
Then you actually
But
have a good ride.
yeah, as it stands, it's just like a sore thumb. It's loud, it smells, and it sucks.
Sore foot, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yes. Sore foot.
It's not the best.
Also,
I drive in LA, so my foot is definitely not sore because I'm used to just driving everywhere
I
or
have
being
one
in
more
my
comment.
car the majority of the time. So
I thought it was really funny. So it opened in '71 and was extremely popular. So in 1973, they actually made it longer. They made the ride longer, and then in '87 they shortened it, and in '19 they
I shortened it. This is the one
again.
at Disney World.
Yes, World. To make space for
Um,
Tron.
okay, my number one. Very curious to hear what you're going to say about it.
Oh
And this
no.
is why I opened this podcast up with the question of how much the line takes into whether or not a ride is bad, or
Well,
the experience of the ride, or what takes into the worst
look at my
ride
number
for me.
1. The line definitely takes a big part, or at least the queue is a huge part of why this ride
Okay.
makes no sense.
So the major driving force of my number one was the ride, and it was Peter Pan's flight. Every time I walk past this ride, I am completely befuddled as to how long people wait for this ride.
Do you know
This
why?
ride is not worth it.
Do you know why the line's so long? I actually looked this up after our trip because I'm like, how the hell? It's a small world 5 minutes and Peter Pan 70. Do you know why?
Is it because that they can't load the amount of people?
Yeah, so, like, it's the smallest ride in terms of how many people it can hold at once. So it loads and unloads way slower because, like, compared to a Haunted Mansion, it's probably half the amount of capacity.
I don't fucking care. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, like, how can you enjoy a ride if the line is bonkers, like, without remorse?
We
Like,
got on and off Mine Train before Mom got on and off Peter Pan.
like, do you know how long this ride is?
It's pretty short.
2 minutes.
I like the
2
actual
minutes.
ride, though. I think it's cute.
But the thing is I'm mad to the point I can't even get on the ride. Like, by the time I get on this ride, I'm fucking mad. And I'm thinking in my head, is this really worth it?
I mean,
Every
we
time
didn't
we go into a new room, the only room that is cute is the one that you're like on the, like, you obviously are on the ship because that's the whole point of the ride.
where you
But
fly over.
you fly over the city. Oh,
It's
so
really
cute.
cute.
I'm not waiting an hour for that shit.
Oh, God, no. I love the ride, but I'm not waiting I'm not
Like-
waiting for it.
Like as far as return on investment into like I see little to zero return on investment for waiting for a ride that is really 2 minutes long.
But if you have little kids,
If I have little kids, they don't even know Peter Pan's flight exists, in my opinion.
yeah, I guess
I'm not letting them look that way.
Disney
I
will
give
never
them
get rid of it.
candy. I'll give them candy and cotton, like anything. Don't even
Cotton
look in
candy.
that direction because you want to know what? That ride
We're
doesn't
going
exist
on it.
because I'm not letting them fall in love with that ride.
I'm pretty sure there's a lightning lane for that ride. Again, waste of money. Disney will never get rid of it, nor will they fix the problem because they're not going to expand the ride.
Like it's so flawed. It's so beyond
so
flawed that
It's
like
old. That's
mean,
why.
what I like, and the thing is I don't think you were on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which I love Sully. He made me go on it when we went together. It's very rickety, but it's enjoyable because you walk right on it and you don't think twice about it. You're like, you know what? I waited 5 minutes for this ride. Who cares?
It's like Winnie the Pooh. You can most likely just walk right on the ride.
But this one just doesn't for me because like I just think that the line and getting part of that on the ride, like, and people are probably gonna be like, absolutely not. It's about the ride itself. But I just don't agree that that's not how Disney is. Like Disney is about the entire
It's the whole experience. It's the whole experience.
It totally is. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that this just sucks the fun out of the ride itself. And it's just not a good ride, in my opinion. It's not.
It's
Like,
a classic Disney ride. It's never going away. I mean, it's dumb that the line is over an hour.
It has a story more so than Pirates, and Pirates is, I already said it's on my honorable mention. And I was having a tough time going back and forth between 2, 3, and 4. But I just knew that like every time I walk past Peter Pan's flight, I feel infuriated with the amount of hatred for this ride.
It's just like it's a flaw that they simply won't fix because it costs too much money and they don't have the space. So
I'm not getting into it.
I agree though. I mean, it's not worth it. It's just like a sore again. Like it's not worth it. But if families with their children want to wait in that line, and like go ahead, have fun. Bye.
Catch me never in that line.
No.
Someone catches me in that line is because I'm being paid to do so.
That's a good one. On my honorable mentions, I had the Barnstormer.
Not great.
Yeah, it's literally
it's the
30
shortest.
second.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the shortest Disney ride that there is.
Mm-hmm. But I'm like curious what's worse, the Barnstormer or Goofy's Flight School? They really just
Goofy's
like did
Flight
Goofy dirty.
They really did. They really, you know what? And like,
Flight School again looks like a carnival attraction.
Barnstormer is actually better than Goofy's Flight School.
No, I meant like the Flight School. Sorry, looks like a carnival, and it sounds like a carnival attraction.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's like that one. I wouldn't put. I'm not doing Goofy dirty. I didn't put him on my list, even my honorable mentions. But that ride is bad.
Yeah, no surprise there. So I had those. Journey into Imagination with Figment at Epcot.
You're a Figment hater, so
I just like don't get it. I don't understand.
Wait.
What Figment has anything to do with anything.
Wait, people don't know this, but when we were in Disney World, I believe, if not, we were together when we found out that people were waiting. Like
we were not there. We had just left.
Okay, we had just left then. When people were waiting 4 to 8 hours for those Figment popcorn buckets, and I think Lindsay's eyes/head fucking exploded. She was like, "What? They waited 8 hours for a Figment?" She's like, "I don't even get Figment."
I don't get Figment. Imagine waiting 8 hours in a line for a park hopper that you paid almost $200 for a fucking popcorn bucket of a little a dragon that doesn't have it's irrelevant. Figment is literally irrelevant, and so is the stupid ass ride.
He's cute,
but it's on my honorable mentions because, like, I don't know. I think these rides are worse. And it's like it tucked in a corner of Epcot that like you have to be looking for it to find it or like accidentally run right into it. It doesn't bother me as much as the other rides do.
My honorable mention, my only other one was the Finding Nemo ride.
That's on mine too. That's my last one. Is the Seas with Nemo and Friends.
And I have a real gripe about this, and I struggled to have this not on my list.
We were there when it opened. Do you remember?
Only for the sake of this. Do you know how much money it costs for this ride to get renovated? Excuse me. I've had a long day.
After it opened?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it kept breaking down.
It cost $170 million for this ride.
Whoever built that ride should feel embarrassed.
Here's my thing is, one, why is it in Tomorrowland?
Wait, which Nemo ride are we talking about?
I'm talking about the Finding Nemo under the sea with the submarines.
Oh,
That's what
that
I'm talking
ride.
about. Not that ride. No, that one, Lindsay, the one in Epcot, that one is like a cute kids ride. I have no problem with it. It doesn't.
I'm talking about the one in Epcot.
No, I'm not talking about that one.
That one?
I'm talking about the Submarine Nemo ride.
I will absolutely never in my life go on that ride because I have an issue with water and with like claustrophobia, and I would need to be heavily sedated. And it wouldn't be voluntary.
I think Mom went on this ride and afterwards was like, I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah. It's currently under construction and it's all the water's out of it. It's drained. So I wonder
but answer me this. How does this belong in Tomorrowland?
How does this belong in Disney? Submarine ride.
Finding Nemo is not of my favorite Pixar movies. It is very good. It is not of my favorite. It belongs in Epcot, where the Moana experience is going to go. How this is a submarine ride in Tomorrowland is beyond me. It is beyond me how much money they fucking spent on this. They need to be gutting that out and putting something that is like legit a timeless classic, another Space Mountain type that you feel like. Put something there put another Toy Story ride there. Who fucking cares? Get this ride out of there. Stop spending more money on it.
What was it? Submarine Voyage. So
it was 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
It was an original submarine ride, and then they refurbished it to be Finding Nemo. Honestly, imagine if
they refurbished it. So because I have this in my notes. The original ride was there from 1959 to 1998, and then in 1998 they changed it. And the new ride, Finding Nemo ride, opened up in 2007.
Yeah, 2007.
And you go on it, and it feels older than 2007. So it's like,
isn't that the worst? Like,
why are you renovating something it's older than when you walk on it?
Yeah, that is just a ride I simply will never go on, and I'm really curious. I don't think it has like a reopening day because I hope that they scrap it.
I hope for one of our episodes, as I'm thinking about this, that one of these days we do an episode about rides we just wished existed. Or not existed, but mostly existed. And where we would put it. Because I could dream up 1,000 different solutions for the Finding Nemo submarine ride at Disneyland. I could find 1,000 different solutions better than that fucking ride.
Honestly, that would be my worst nightmare, getting stuck in that. So absolutely fucking not. They can get rid of it. I don't care.
You mean getting stuck? Did we talk about this? Or did it happen after the season wrapped?
You got stuck after the season wrapped, right?
That was the other gripey thing that I wanted to say, was that I said that Pirates was the worst ride to get stuck on, and then after we finished taping the season, people got stuck on it, and it made news, national news.
They had to evacuate.
They had to evacuate, and the cast members had to get in waiters and get those people out.
Yeah, I mean, especially getting stuck in the pitch black.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Count me out.
So yeah, I had the one in Epcot, the Nemo ride, because we were there when it originally opened, and it was continuously broken down. And again, it's one of those things where they didn't spend their money properly when they built the ride. It's cute.
I think there was a point in Disney parks, and it was obviously either the head of the Imagineering person or maybe the start of Bob Iger. I can't remember, of them we need to make things more relevant, but we're too cheap to make something brand new.
Yeah, because if you've ever been on it, you've been on it. It's a mix of videos and the old
animatronics
style animatronics, but the videos part looks great. They should have just made the whole ride the screens, but the animatronics just are cheap and they don't fit in.
You know what though? I will say they did an amazing job in the Epcot ride in Mexico with the Tres Caballeros,
because they redid that.
that one was the perfect mix of like TV screens with the old school animatronics, and like I would go on that ride again. They
I
did a
liked
great
that
job.
ride. I thought it was really cute.
Yeah,
And they're featured in the Small World in Disneyland.
it's so cute.
It's so cute. So that's it for me.
Well, we've got episode 1 in the books.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back.
The Pink Sisters here with Unpopular Disney Opinions. I guarantee you're gonna hear more from us. We're gonna have some exciting guests on this season. I can't give any names.
We'll have a lot of good topics, and we'll sprinkle in more stories from our trips.
Absolutely. And as always, if you have a topic that you want to hear from us, let us know. And until next week.
Yep.